All right, Brian, in this video, we're going to address a couple of things that you can do to build off of your strengths to make yourself a more consistent, efficient, and powerful hitter. And we're going to focus on two things in this video. One is your negative move and what you do with your lower half during your negative move and how you can be more efficient there. And then the second thing that we're going to look at is the load of your hands and how we can keep our hands back a little bit longer. So let's talk about number one. Now, we've already identified that you and Chase Utley have a very similar timeline. And what I mean by the timeline is what the stride looks like. And you can see here with Chase Utley, it's a very simple stride, a simple negative move, a stride that stays low to the ground to get to the launch position. And you can see here on the left-hand side, you're the same way. Simple stride that stays low to the ground to get to the launch position. So, with that in mind, I want you to pay attention to what Chase Utley does in his negative move position. So we're going to go ahead and put a blue dot around his belly button and a blue dot where his eyes are at and a blue dot by his back knee. And I want you to notice here, when he goes to pick up this front heel, that is his negative move. So watch right here. There's his negative move. This is where he's getting prepared to stride. And you'll notice that the belly button goes back just a little bit. So if I draw a red dot right here, this is where his belly button goes. But notice how his back knee stays put. His back knee stays inside of his back foot. And this is important for one big reason. This is going to keep the weight on the inside of his back leg. That's important because it's going to help him stride efficiently towards the pitcher. He's going to be able to work downhill and get into a good launch position. Notice how his head stays in the same place when he does that negative move. Now, if we take a look at you on the left-hand side, and we draw that blue dot where your belly button is, and the blue dot where your knee is, and the blue dot where your head is, let's go ahead and get you into your negative move. There's your negative move right there. And first of all, I want you to notice the back knee. Notice how it's rocked back. And now your back knee is actually over your back foot. Well, this is an inefficient move because now the weight has gone on the outside of your back leg. And that's going to make it more difficult for you to stride towards the pitcher in an efficient manner. It's going to make it more difficult for you to shift your weight throughout your swing as well. You'll also notice how your head is rocked back a little bit further than Chase Utley's as well. Again, an inefficient move for what you're trying to do. So my first suggestion to you is in your negative move to keep your back knee inside of your back foot like you can see here with Chase Utley. And you'll see when we get you to your stride position why this is important. We're going to get both of you guys down where the front foot lands. Right there is where Chase Utley's front foot lands. And right there is where your front foot lands. Right there. And I'm going to go ahead and draw a straight line through Chase Utley's knees. And notice how that line is completely straight. And I'm going to draw a line through his hips. So his knees and his hips are square. Now, if we go over here with you on the left-hand side, you're going to notice that your back knee is lower than your front knee. So your knees aren't square. And it's the same thing with your hips. You're actually working uphill here. And when you work uphill like this, you're going to have a tendency to pop some balls up. And it's going to be less efficient to get into the hitting zone. You're not going to be able to shift your weight because you're less balanced. I mean, if you look over here, this is a picture-perfect example of what balance is. And this is not entirely balanced. So, that is simply a product of improving your negative move. Now, second improvement we're going to talk about is the hands. Okay? And we're going to begin with Chase Utley here. You have to understand that the swing is a two-part swing. So in the stride, when a hitter's striding, he's simply loading his hands and keeping them back, and he's not beginning his swing. Notice as his front foot comes forward, the hands actually load back. And when the front foot lands, the hands stay nice and loaded. That's a great trigger position. Now with you on the left-hand side, you're going to notice that right here your hands are loaded, but you still have to come forward. And so as you come forward, what happens with you is your hands start to drift down and get out of the loaded position. Watch how your hands start to drift down right there. And so when your front foot actually lands, you can see the difference in the hands. His hands here are at the top of the hitting zone. All right. The barrel of the bat stays loaded. Whereas with you, your hands have dipped below the top of the hitting zone and your bat does not stay loaded. Let me show you this from a different angle and give you a better perspective of this. So this is from a catcher angle, and we'll show Chase Utley from a catcher angle as well. Let's take a look at Utley. We're going to watch him here as he takes his stride forward. Notice those hands are loading as he's coming forward. And when his front foot lands right there, notice how that back elbow stays loaded, hands stay back. He doesn't start his swing until that front foot gets down, and then he can begin to work down, right? Well, with you on the left-hand side, as you take your stride here, here's your negative move, and right at this point, your elbow is in a perfect position. The barrel of the bat's in a perfect position. But you still have to take your stride forward. So you're going to come forward here, and as you come, you're going to watch how your elbow drops down. You're almost beginning to swing before your front foot even lands. And there's where your front foot finally lands. And notice the difference. See how your elbows dip down? And you're going to lose power that way. You're also going to open up your swing a little bit earlier because as you can see, your front shoulder's not as closed as Chase Utley's is. And so the result of that, if we get both you guys here into your swing, your front shoulder flies a little bit open, whereas Chase Utley's able to stay closed a little bit longer. So keep that in mind. Try to work on those two things, and we'll go from there.